that there is no one size fits all when it comes to eating what or not, but the basic things that you can follow.
After crossing 25 at least, I feel fitness is just not losing weight. It's not about eating a particular way or just a diet.
Right.
For me now, fitness also impacts my productivity.
How my mother functions 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
First 2 points. Firstly, make yourself a priority. Secondly, let go of that guilt.
Yeah.
Because that will get your body in one rhythm.
Correct.
Your meal timings will improve.
Yeah.
What time you're going to bed, what time you're waking up will improve. So your body just gets in a set of rhythm.
Losing like 5 kgs, 10 kgs
10
and then
kgs.
gaining it back.
Nowadays, so you will find a lot of prenatal, postnatal coaches who are helping you out.
So prenatal yoga and postnatal yoga, I've heard. If you go for a walk just after your meal, your body metabolizes it better. Welcome to the Wellness Mixer. My name is Ambika, and I started this podcast to empower women with the right knowledge about their bodies. I invite healthcare professionals and people from the wellness community to talk about their expertise. Unfortunately, we're shooting this in the same week when a doctor was brutally murdered and raped in Calcutta. This has shown how little regard we have for the healthcare professionals. And well, we've always been disrespecting women in our society, so nothing new there, I guess. But it also defies the point of this podcast. Why are we sitting here talking about women's wellness, the latest research, all of that, when we don't have the basic respect for the healthcare professionals, for our doctors? She was on a 36-hour shift and she went to get some rest in a seminar room, and that's when she was brutally raped and murdered. We don't know the full facts right now, but from what we have heard is that the person arrested is a scapegoat and there's a bigger motive involved. By the time this podcast is released, a lot of you would have forgotten this incident, probably erased it out of our memory because it's a little too disturbing for all of us. But that's how dystopian our reality is. And with that in mind, I want to start this episode by remembering the doctor who was brutally murdered and raped in Calcutta. In this episode of the Wellness Mixer, we're talking to Nikita. She is a fitness enthusiast turned entrepreneur, and she's helped multiple women in their 30s and 40s transform their health habits, which I think a lot of us struggle with. Now, whether you have PCOS, you don't have PCOS, you have thyroid or you're going through menopause, the goal I think is always to be fit. And a lot of times, we just lose out on that consistency. We're not able to keep up. Of course, there are phases when, we'll be really healthy, keeping up with our fitness goals, drinking enough water, going to the gym, waking up on time. But then, at least for me and for people in my circle, it's always been a phase. And once that phase is over, we go back to our old habits. And then again, around 1st of Jan, we start with the whole process. And to help us with all of that, we have Nikita here today. Welcome to the Wellness Mixer, Nikita.
Thank you, Ambika. Thank you for inviting me.
How are you doing?
A little better. Till yesterday, like you said, you just mentioned, I was also not in a very good mood.
Yeah.
So, but we have to pick ourselves up. That's like the harsh reality of life.
That is. And the only hope is that our government will take strict actions, set an example, because honestly, this has just become too common for our country, and the reputation as a country is on stake, right?
Exactly.
Because this is not just national news. This is now international news, and this was a woman's life. She was a doctor. She had a family, and this happened, and it's just very unfortunate.
Yeah. I know, I was just discussing this yesterday with my husband also. And we were just pointing out the same thing, that why the hell can't we take some strict measures? Why? I mean, what is stopping us? But I don't know, like, what is the solution to this? What I know is we can, do our best in making more and more people aware about such things, especially boys around us.
Absolutely. I think it starts at home. It starts by teaching your kids, your sons, your brothers, and in some cases even your fathers,
Exactly.
to not objectify women, to respect women, to not look at us like sexual beings. Because that's what our society does.
Right.
We look at women as sexual beings, and I was just watching this one video, and it was honestly a little disturbing. This was one of the rapists who was convicted earlier, and he said this girl was out late at night. It was her fault. And as women, right, we've been told, come back home on time.
Exactly.
Don't wear something short if you're
Short.
going in this area. Don't accept a drink at the bar if you don't know.
speak to a stranger.
Don't speak-
Don't do that.
Don't do-
Basically, just
yeah.
stop doing everything.
Just a lot of don'ts for women.
Yeah.
And while I understand our parents are doing this to protect us, but who is teaching the men out there?
Exactly.
And here I would hold our government responsible, and not just the current government, even the previous past governments, because
Nobody has done.
Nobody
anything.
has done it. Nobody, right? It's also at homes when you are teaching your kids, when you tell them, oh, that your sister is not an equal. That's where it starts.
Exactly.
And it's unfortunate what's happening in our country right now. Having said that, we are here to discuss women's wellness.
Yeah.
We're here to empower women, most importantly.
Right.
And for me, that's doing my bit. And you've also been doing your bit. You are you were in a very different profession before this.
Yeah.
You were not a fitness enthusiast.
Not at all. I was the most laziest person ever. Like, I always tell the same to anybody who asks me, like, how did your journey started and everything. So I still say that I am the most laziest person, but maybe fitness has made me enjoy that laziness more now.
Yeah?
Because even when I'm lying on my bed, say for 3 hours, so I'm a person, who wants some kind of balance in my life. I cannot just work for hours continuously. I want that my space after working for some time. So some days I just throw away my phone, keep away my laptop, just lie down for 3-4 hours and do nothing. So yeah, you get backache, you get so many aches if you have, crossed your 30 and you're lying in a position for a long time. But because I have been training for such a long time, so I say that fitness has made my lazy times more enjoyable now.
That's okay. That's a very valid point, and we'll talk more about that.
Yes.
But okay, tell us, how did you get into fitness?
Sure.
When did this transformation from an IT professional to a fitness enthusiast and to a fitness entrepreneur happen?
Yeah, sure. So my journey started in 2017.
Okay.
2017 December, actually, I joined this CrossFit box, which was started by my now husband.
Okay.
The name of the box was CrossFit Vyoma at that time. Actually, I was going through a very rough phase in my life during that time, and I decided that I'll just go to a gym and do something. I think most of us do that. But I never knew that I'm going to enjoy it so much, because before CrossFit, I have tried bunch of things. Conventional gymming, Zumba, kickboxing. I used to go for treks. Like I have a friend, Richa. We used to do all these things together. I was in Pune at that time. So when I started CrossFit, it just made so much sense to me that I loved that post-feeling workout, because it made me realize my body can do so much more. And because there is so many varieties, and all the movements that we do in CrossFit somehow impact our daily movements. For example, you're sitting, you're standing, you're picking something, you're putting something up. So you mimic those movements in CrossFit. It's actually a functional movement-based style of training.
Amazing.
And you can vary the intensity as per your fitness level. For example, I still remember my day one, and today, 6 years it has been, 6+ years actually, how I started my squat and how I do it today. There is so much difference.
I think most of us do it wrong. Even at the gyms, I've seen reels of celebrities doing
it so wrong. Oh God, I just want to comment it out, but I don't know if they will see the comment or if it will matter to
A
me.
lot of them do.
Yeah, but it's such horrible form. I mean, people are doing so many wrong things in fitness when it comes to celebrities.
Yeah.
Because, and everybody shows them ki they are our fitness ambassadors. I don't know why.
Because they have a particular body type.
Exactly.
And that body type is appreciated.
Exactly.
I think that's why we look up to them for fitness. But no, fitness, I think, after crossing 25 at least, I feel fitness is just not losing weight. It's not about eating a particular way or just a diet.
Right.
For me now, fitness also impacts my productivity.
Exactly.
How efficiently I finish a task
task.
at work, be it at home, right? A lot of us also face, like, I hate to say it, but backaches. And especially after COVID that started happening. And I was told that, I had constant backaches because my back muscles were actually weak.
Yeah.
And I was asked to go for physiotherapy for a bit.
Okay.
Because, the backache happened because, of my posture, not working out enough.
I'll
During
tell
COVID.
you the exact reason why it happens, but
Tell me.
you continue.
Tell me. I want to know now.
So, not in extreme cases, but for people who have a sedentary lifestyle. For example, somebody who sits continuously for 3 to 4 hours.
Yeah.
I have friends who sit continuously for 6 hours in one position. Okay. So, what happens is because you are in this position for such a long time and your weight is your body weight is right now on your hips.
Yeah.
Right? So your muscles around your hips and your back, they become a lot more stiff. And also in our upper back because we are just in one position.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
So what happens is if you, without relieving those muscles, like without improving the flexibility of those muscles, if you start doing some kind of movement, you are going to enjoy yourself. I'm not saying any high intensity movement, but a simple movement also, if you'll do, it might cause an injury. So how I would say you should go about it, do some kind of stretches almost every day, especially for your spine, especially for your lower body, because it helps a lot. And along with that, some kind of activation for the muscles. Because if you're in the same position for, continuous hours, those muscles are not working. They are not doing anything. So you will have to activate them almost every day.
Got it.
So activation plus flexibility exercises will help you get rid of that backache. I know we tend to go to physiotherapists when it happens because maybe we have a little knowledge about it. But you should go. I mean, they also guide you the right way, but the best way to go about is include some kind of stretching routine.
Yeah.
And some kind of small...
I think going to a physiotherapist is not like part of the preventive measures.
Yeah.
Maybe stretches become a part of the preventive measures. And once
measures.
you start getting backache, obviously your doctor will say that there are two options: either take painkillers or go to a physiotherapist and get this fixed. And you learn these movements. Because in a previous episode, we actually had a physiotherapist explaining something very similar to us.
Okay.
And one thing that she mentioned was that, we've always been told sit up straight.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to. You can relax.
Yeah.
Because the more we sit up straight, we tighten our muscles.
Yes.
We tighten. Like if I'm sitting upright like this, my shoulders are in this alignment. It's tight, right? The moment I do this, you can see my body's relaxed. So she was telling me more about that. But it's a very common problem. In fact, I am saying post 25, but don't we all know our mothers, grandmothers, they all have backaches?
Yes.
A lot of it is also because of postpartum.
Yeah.
But then I think a big part of it is that our lifestyles changed.
And one more thing, Ambika, as you age, you start losing muscle mass.
Yeah.
And if you're not doing anything to preserve it, you will start getting these aches more frequently because your muscles are not protecting anything.
And at what age does this really start happening?
30.
30.
Roughly 30. And the rate is like every decade you lose 8 to 10%. But as you, age more, the rate also increases if you are not doing anything to preserve it. Like to preserve it, of course, you should do some kind of resistance training. You should have some kind of protein in your meals. You should be doing some or the other kind of movement at least. But if you're not doing anything, you're not changing anything about your lifestyle, you will see the depletion rate even more.
Okay, that is crazy because I'm 2 years away from 30 and now that's scary. But okay, so again, one of the most important things I really want to focus on in this podcast, in this episode, is how do women make out time for their wellness? Because the thing is, when you're in early 20s, it's all rosy, okay? You have to go to college, you get your new job, all of that, and you're still able to manage your gym timings and going for a walk, all of that. Because I used to do that and I was very regular with my workouts.
Right.
I was in the archery team, I used to be a skater in school, all of those things, okay? And then I started working and I got really obsessed with my job, with my work. I love what I do. But that leaves me with no time for fitness or wellness, right? I take out time for like an hour walk. And it gets worse right now when I talk to people in their 30s who have family responsibilities, who probably have a child, have a husband, and they're taking care of the house chores also.
So many things, yeah.
How do they manage wellness? How do they take out time? Because it's very difficult. There are only 24 hours in a day and you need sleep also, and you have your work also, and you can't put one thing on the back burner for the other.
Yeah.
But there is also this realization that has started happening.
Yeah.
That if you want to be productive, you want to enjoy your life, you need to be healthy.
Exactly. No, that is the case with almost everyone. I will not restrict it to just women also, but yeah, men also. But as you said, women, of course, have more responsibilities because I have seen how my mother functions 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
So, see, firstly, women should realize that it's a very, I know everybody knows this, but they should know that you are important.
Correct.
Okay. If you will not prioritize your health, you will not be able to prioritize everything else that revolves around you. Okay?
Absolutely.
Second of all, they should just let go of that guilt. I mean, it's high time. Yes, you have a child. Yes, you have work responsibilities. Yes, you have family responsibilities. And in all these responsibilities, you tend to lose yourself. But you should realize, and when you even go to do something for yourself, there is this guilt always creeping in.
That's weighing you down. Yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely.
You know, that if I go out and even go for a walk with my friends, you know, what will happen to my kid? Who will give food to, you know, my grandparents or anybody who is in their family?
Yeah.
So I would say first 2 points. Firstly, make yourself a priority. You are important. I mean, this is a message for all the women out there. You are very, very important. Please just make yourself a priority. Secondly, let go of that guilt. If these two things will happen, you will just start making time for yourself. For example, even if you are doing something for 15 minutes, just start doing that. Okay. Now, suppose you have set all these two things, and how should you make time for yourself? I can say if you can try and wake up early in the morning, I think that is the best thing you can do to yourself before everyone wakes up. You just finish your workout and everything else, and you're just set for the day. So if you can do, please try and wake up early in the morning. I'm not even saying ki start waking up 2 hours before your current wake up time. At least get up half an hour before and do something for 10 minutes.
Because I think a lot of women who have kids anyway wake up really early.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
The sad part is they also have to go to bed at the last after they wind up the kitchen, everything. Because the reality is that even though times are changing, women are going out to work, they don't have that support in their house, right? They don't have that kind of support from their families. They're also expected to do the housework and they're also expected to go out and have a career, which honestly is very difficult to juggle with. So yeah, I think one thing that you've rightly said is women need to prioritize themselves. Be selfish.
Exactly.
It's okay. Just be selfish. Okay?
No, that is important.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you cannot give when you don't have something. right? You need to be healthy for your family then. So, absolutely. So, okay, waking up half an hour early.
Second, I want to say ki don't just think that workout is something that you should do only in the morning or in the evening. Okay? Suppose you have say 30 minutes after you have finished your lunch.
Yeah.
Or 30 minutes before you are about to go for lunch, or any time during the day, 11 a.m., 3 p.m., 4 p.m., any time when you have time, please do something. Because see, I get asked a lot of times ki what is the best time to work out. I would say there is no best time to work out. Whenever you can move, please move. For example, I am
Yeah.
a fitness coach also, and I'm an entrepreneur also. Sometimes I have to take classes in the morning, and then I have meetings lined up because we are juggling so many things right now.
Yeah.
So sometimes I work out around 12 p.m. Sometimes I work out at 3 p.m. Although I have zero motivation at that time, but I know this is something I have to do to keep myself sane. So
Yeah.
I would say please don't look for that best time to work out. Find your way of working out, and that's going to be the best way.
No, you're very right when you say that, because I have found myself actually slacking with my workouts, because it'll be like, oh, it's 7 p.m. too late. I'll wake up early next day. And then I don't wake up, which is the sad part. I'll be
Yeah.
like, oh shit, no, I missed this time slot also. So next day now. And honestly, and a lot of people do that. I know that. And I think we always find that right time. We've been told, okay, yes, maybe for people who have higher cortisol levels, it's better to not do a high intensity workout in the evening. But yeah, find any slot and do
Any
it.
slot, and I mean, just do anything. See, we always look for right time, right place, right clothes, right ye, right wo. I mean, there is
Just do
nothing
it,
right
yeah.
or wrong. Whatever suits your body, whatever suits your schedule, just do that. See, we always try to adjust our life according to fitness. But actually, fitness should be adjusted according to our lifestyle,
Yeah.
because there is no one size fits all for anyone.
Yeah.
For example, your day might look very different from what my day looks like. Somebody else's day will look very different. So, how can you fit in your fitness things or whatever you want to do in your schedule? Please find that way.
And it's not just fitness, right? It's
Right.
not about just workouts.
Just workout, right?
Um,
But that's the first step to go about.
First step you
Like
can
whenever
start
we
with.
look at fitness, yeah, workouts is something that comes for the first time, because we are still reaching that stage where awareness about other things have now started happening. For example, you should sleep well. You should hydrate yourself well. Previously, nobody used to talk about all these
And sleep and
things.
hormones are so deeply interlinked.
Right.
I was told this by a doctor about 10 years ago,
Hmm.
10 or 12 maybe. And he was the only one who had told me back then. And I don't think there was enough research also to back it up. Now, obviously, I think post-COVID, there's been a lot of research and
research.
a lot of awareness about
Yeah.
this. But when he told me, I was in school and I was like, okay, but then when do I study? Because I study in the nights. So, like, what do you want me to do? Not study? Like, I was just so confused. I was like, ab sleep kahan se aa gayi sab mein? Like, but now I realize, if I don't sleep well, it is so hard for me to function.
Ask me.
And this last entire week, I was traveling for work. There was podcast work. I have a full-time job. So I was just continuously on the go. And I went from Bangalore to Delhi to Amritsar, and then back to Bangalore in like, 4-5 days.
Oh my
It was
God.
crazy. And Kishan is sitting here. He's listening to this. He knows how sleep deprived I have been, because we've been on calls at like 12:30 a.m. and I'm like, I just want to go sleep. So yeah, sleep is so essential.
Please let her sleep, because sleep is very important. You
No,
directly tell
actually,
her,
I
"Ki,
think
please,
I've
Ambika,
been-
go and sleep."
I think it's the other way around, Nikita. I've been assigning work and I have been keeping people up saying, ye khatam karo.
No,
But
I can relate to that.
Yeah, but the thing is, sleep is so essential and we've underrated sleep.
Very,
Right.
very much. And I'll tell you, sleep is the best recovery tool out there. When we talk about recovery, it's not just getting recovered from the workouts, but also getting recovery from the entire tasks that you do during the day. For example, you are working, you are cleaning your house, you are taking care of your child, you are going out for some kind of travel. You need recovery for that also. So if you're not sleeping well, your body is not recovering. I mean,
Yeah.
you're not giving that enough justice to your body.
Yeah, and you have to unwind at some point, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't know, many people don't know about it, but there is a deficit that keeps on creating if you don't give your body that sleep.
Yeah.
And it has a very, very massive impact later on how you're feeling, first of all. I will give you my example. I am a very selfish person when it comes to sleep. I don't care about my friends when it comes to sleep. If I have to sleep, I have to sleep. Okay. So some days when I'm not able to sleep well due to some or the other reasons, if any thought is going on in my mind when I'm just going to bed. So the next day I am so cranky, I just get irritated by almost everything and I shout at my husband and he tells me what is wrong with
Yeah,
you.
that's me.
So I
too,
tell him,
so.
see, I have not slept well and it is happening. So I will have to take it out on somebody. So you are the person. And secondly, I have noticed that actually lately that I keep getting some or the other kind of cravings when I have not slept well. And I've actually observed this pattern very carefully.
So there is a research that your sleep impacts your insulin sensitivity also.
Exactly.
So if you get one of those glucose trackers and you track your sleep and your insulin spikes, you would actually see a difference.
Yes. You will crave for certain kind of foods. For example, food which have more fats.
Yeah.
Food which are more sugary,
Yeah.
salty, all these kinds of food you actually get craving for.
That's crazy,
So-
right? Like we
So sleep actually affects a lot of things.
we undermine sleep so much because I think there's this constant struggle to be productive all the time. And we're like, okay, we're staying awake, we're pulling an all-nighter, we're more productive. But in reality, what happens is that it actually decreases your productivity the next day.
You're doing more harm actually to your body than actually. I know. See, not everyone has the privilege to get 6 to 8 hours of sleep every day because people have erratic work schedules.
Yeah.
We cannot just bluntly go and say to them ki please, sleep by 10 p.m.
Yeah.
or wake up by 6 a.m. No, not
Absolutely.
everyone can
Yeah.
do that. But whatever your schedule is, for example, you must have seen there are a lot of people who work in different kinds of shifts. Okay, and we get this question asked a lot of times. Like we have a community, and people say ki I have these kind of work timings. So how do I sleep by 10 p.m.? It's just not possible for
Yeah.
us. So what should I do? So we tell them, see, you cannot control what you. So you must have heard of this phrase that control the controllables,
Yeah.
right? So you cannot control your work hours, but what you can control is the number of hours you can fix for yourself to sleep. If you're going to bed at 1 a.m. and waking up at say 10 a.m. in the morning, can you please try and fix that?
Yeah.
Because that will get your body in one rhythm.
Correct.
Your meal timings will improve.
Yeah.
What time you're going to bed, what time you're waking up will improve. So your body just gets in a set of rhythm. So control what you can and don't worry about what you can't control. Because if you'll stress about what you can't control, you'll not be able to do anything. And you
Yeah.
are constantly going in more and more stress mode and it just becomes a vicious circle, I will say.
It does. And then I think it also doesn't help you unwind, right? Like before you sleep, you want to unwind, you want to relax and then go into that mode. And I was in that space where, I was so stressed that I could not, like even if I wanted to sleep, I could not. And there's one thing that I would recommend to everyone. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's called Yoga Nidra.
Yeah, I have practiced it a lot of times. In fact, we tell people to practice it.
I love Yoga Nidra, and
Yeah.
there are free YouTube videos that you can find about Yoga Nidra. I have a 10-minute clip that I can share a
can
link.
also
Yeah,
share, yeah.
they're like 45 minutes, and I would sleep.
It's very, very
It's
relaxing.
so relaxing, so
Yeah,
calming.
yeah.
And I also met someone who practices Yoga Nidra recently, and it was just, we started chatting about it, and I was like, yeah, that's such a powerful tool to
Exactly.
sleep well.
Sleep
You don't need melatonin or any other supplements. Because
yeah.
the reliance on melatonin is, I don't know. I mean, I don't sleep well with melatonin.
Okay.
So
I'm
every time-
hearing this for the first time.
Every
from
time I
somebody.
take melatonin, I've spoken to a lot of friends also, we all have weird dreams. Yeah, very, very out of the box, stupid dreams.
Okay.
Okay, and when you wake up, you don't feel fresh.
Ha. Okay.
Right? Like when you wake up, you feel a little drowsy.
Okay.
So I stopped taking melatonin. That magnesium
never
is
tried
something that's
Yeah,
really helped me.
magnesium is helpful, but I have never tried melatonin. Even if it happens ki 3 out of 30 days I'm not able to sleep well, I mean, it's okay. I think these kind of days do come in a month when you, but if there are more days that you are not able to sleep, then I think you should actually do something about
Do
it.
something about it.
For
Yeah.
example, like you said, yoga nidra, engage yourself in some kind of meditation activities. Do some stretching before you go to bed. Read. I mean, read anything. If you will start reading, you will obviously just fall asleep.
And I
It's
think
the-
another thing that helped me
Yeah.
is that switching off the white light from my phone and in
Exactly.
my room.
Room.
So if you switch off the white light around you after, let's say, 6 p.m., it'll be easier for you to sleep by
sleep.
10 p.m., 11 p.m.
Because that produces melatonin
Yeah,
and it induces sleep in your body.
correct.
That is why they say turn off all the screens before, at least 1 hour before you go to bed, and make your environment more cozy,
Yeah.
slightly cooler. That will induce sleep.
Correct.
So try such kind of activities actually help, Ambika, a lot.
So, okay, if you have to put this in, like, let's say 3 actionable tips, okay?
Sure.
Slightly cooler environment.
Yeah. Turn off the screens at least an hour before.
Or put a filter.
There
There are filters on the
put
phone.
night mode in your
Yeah,
phone.
night
For
mode.
example, my phone goes on do not disturb after 10 p.m.
Oh, okay. so my phone actually has this filter where it turns off the white light and turns on the yellow light in the phone.
Then
Okay.
I must not have explored it more. I will check
Yeah.
that.
So
But
on iPhones, I know there's this feature.
yeah, I have
where you
an
can
iPhone
do that.
only. Then I have not explored it enough. Okay.
But you're anyway sleeping on time. It's for people like me who stay awake till 1 a.m. on some days. So, yeah, okay, that.
Then
And-
third is engage in some kind of stretching or do some kind of meditation activities like yoga nidra is the best out there.
Yeah.
Just leave everything and talk to your, whoever, if your partner, spend some quality time with your family.
Yeah.
That will also relax you a lot.
I think that it's about unwinding, right? Like if you're
Exactly.
able to have like a nice chat with your family, with your partner or with your sibling, right? It just helps you unwind.
Exactly.
And one thing that I find very empowering is journaling.
Yeah, I have done that, but somehow stopped it. But when I used to do it, it was very, very, healing, I would
Yeah.
say.
I find it very empowering because, I'm able to put down all my thoughts on a piece of paper. And I probably will never look back at those thoughts, but it helps me just restructure everything that I'm going through.
That's good.
So the noise in my head just stops and I'm calmer. And that helps me sleep better.
Yeah.
So I hope all of these points will help you sleep better.
Yeah.
And there's
please sleep well.
Yeah, sleeping well is just, it's amazing. I think it can change your productivity.
Change your
level.
life
Yeah.
altogether. You see, sleeping well will make you realize how much you are prioritizing yourself, your body.
Yeah, and I think women in their 30s and 40s barely get sleep.
Yeah.
And they sacrifice their sleep for their child's school homework, school projects.
And finishing some kind of tasks for their work also.
Yeah.
If they are working.
So women are the first ones to wake up and the last ones to go to bed. And they're also constantly tired. Like we don't realize this enough, especially like in the postpartum phase. When, you have a small baby and you're taking care of a baby, women have so much pressure to lose weight, get back into their original bodies, like this is
They say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take care of the child. Look at household responsibilities, and they're managing all of that.
Exactly. And it's actually very difficult, although I'm not a mother, so I should not make any comments about such, because their lives, I know, must be very difficult in the initial few months, because I have seen some of my friends
Exactly,
go through
yeah.
that. But once you have come out of that phase, if you have somebody who's helping you out in that phase and you have come out of that phase, you should find some or the other way to start prioritizing yourself, right? For example, don't think about going back to the same body that you had. I know people around us make us feel that your bodies have changed. How much time are you going to take to lose weight or get back to your shape? But I think we should just block that noise.
I think first of all, we all need to realize that we're not Kim Kardashian. Okay, we're normal human beings. We have normal bodies, which are supposed to change and evolve
Yeah,
with every phase.
exactly.
It's not said enough. It's not. It's you know, when women go through that phase, they're constantly reminded that you need to lose weight.
You need to lose weight, exactly.
But why can't they take their own time?
And this kind of mentality makes them look at fitness also just for weight loss. We don't talk about health more as much as we talk about weight loss.
True.
So,
True.
and that also somewhat makes them hate also fitness. Then they will think, I will do this thing for a certain amount of time. I'll get back in my original shape and then I'll stop it. But that doesn't work like
It's
that.
a lifestyle change.
Exactly.
But also, after you deliver a baby, your body takes a toll, right? It needs time to recover.
I mean, you have given birth to a creature.
Yeah, like literally a living being.
Exactly. And your body has just gone through a tremendous stress. I mean, you have done something amazing which no man can do. Only
Yeah.
you can do, first of all.
Yeah.
So you should be first grateful for what your body has done. And now you should start working on these things which will heal your body. Rather than listening to everybody else around you.
Yeah, so at back to basics, I'm sure there are a lot of women who come for postpartum
Yeah,
weight loss also.
we have.
At what point should they start training? Because a lot of them go through natural
Yeah,
delivery process, but
yeah.
there's some people who also opt for cesarean, right?
Yeah.
While both are okay choices, but there's a different recovery period for both.
Both. So, see, ideally, 6 months is a good enough time where you have given your body, recovery window, and you also have started going for walks or something like that. At least engaging in very low intensity exercises.
Okay.
Once you have given that amount of time to yourself, then you can get back to a normal routine. Again, I will not say it's applicable for everyone because each pregnancy is very, very different.
Very different, yeah.
For example, somebody, so if I compare somebody who was already into workouts before giving birth and somebody who was not into workouts before giving birth, their recovery will be very, very different. Right?
Yeah.
So we should take care of such factors. But women who have come to us, usually who have spent like 1 year, 2 years, because 1 to 2 years they are already not they are managing a lot of things actually. And to come to a point to realize that now I have to start taking care of myself, it takes a long enough time for them.
That's true.
So we have such cases, but I would say 6 months is a good enough time for yourself to recover and then get back into.
So realistically, what expectations should they have, right? If they're starting to work out after 6 months, how long would it take for them to lose that weight?
So I would actually contradict your question a little bit, Ambika. See, to be very honest, I know weight loss is something that most of us are stressed about, but don't give yourself any goal of losing this much amount of kgs.
Just
or
being
something.
active.
Just try to get into a good lifestyle. Try to engage yourself in some or the other kind of physical activity because that will help you relieve that stress which is coming from this new life that you are now in. Of course, it's a new life. It's a new birth for a woman also after giving birth to a child. Your body has changed. You have tremendous amount of responsibilities. So try to make your health good rather than, running after some kind of number because it just doesn't work that way.
I know, but psychologically, everybody wants to set goals.
Right.
Right? Because without a goal, and that's why I asked you this
Yeah,
question.
yeah.
Because of course, while it's a very normal process to, gain weight, and then it's a process to lose it. Like psychologically, if you think about it, you can't work towards something if you don't have a goal. Right? So I think maybe it's important to set realistic goals.
Yeah, that we can say. So I would say set goals like, I will, for the first month, let's divide your year into months. Okay. And give yourself a goal like in the first month, whenever I'm starting, I will just do something, any kind of physical activity for 15 to 20 minutes every day.
Okay.
If not every day, 3 to 4, days in a week.
Yeah.
Like that. This is the first goal.
Yeah.
Second goal, you can go about, okay, now I will try and along with the physical activity, I can try and increase the duration also more.
Got it.
For example, instead of 20 minutes, now I can go for 30 minutes. Because when you develop such kind of goals, you start getting consistent. And once you get consistent, weight loss is just a byproduct.
Yeah.
So I would say give yourself a goal of being consistent rather than saying ki I want to lose 8 kgs in 3 months, 4 months. Say
very
I
valid.
want to get consistent with some kind of physical activity for the next 2 months, 3 months.
I think that's very valid, because most of us falter with consistency.
Right.
Even if you're not looking at postpartum weight loss,
Right.
in general with weight
Right,
loss, right?
right.
We always say, oh, we're going to lose 5 kgs in a month, but we never say, oh, we're going to work out 30 days a month.
30 days. See, that's the change of mindset that we need to do. And again, one more point I want to highlight over here. Consistency will differ from person to person. For example, if I am somebody who's working out 6 days a week, according to your schedule, maybe consistency is that you can work out 30 minutes for 3 days in a week.
Yeah.
And then build upon that.
Yeah.
Right? So define your way of consistency. I mean, just set according to your life, according to your schedule.
Yeah. Very valid points. So far we've spoken about being consistent, being more productive by fixing sleep and fitness. What are some other aspects that you also look at with in your community?
So, Ambika, we have a very simple concept of health that we believe in and we preach also. So, see, fitness has become very, very overwhelming for people.
Yeah.
Okay. They say that we have to follow this diet, we have to work out for 1 hour every day, and every day we have to do something.
And it's absurd. I see people spending 3
hours
at
in
the
the gym. Yeah.
Like, I'm like, how do you have 3 hours to be at the gym?
Exactly.
Kishan, I'm asking you. Because he goes to the gym at 6 p.m. and they'll be like, oh, I'm back at 9 p.m. I'm like,
That's okay. I'm sure he must be talking to people around him. Or
what do you do at the gym?
not? See, I know. Because I used to spend 2 hours in the gym also. But half of my time used to go to talking to people, resting, and then doing one set, then again resting, then doing one set. So it was like my chill time. I used to enjoy that time. Okay. So yeah, I mean, we want to make fitness very simple for people. That's why we believe that's why our name is Back to Basics. We want to make the basics of health easy for you. What are the basics of health? Sleep well, eat well, hydrate yourself well, move as much as you can. Any form of movement is medicine. And lastly, try to get some or the other kind of natural light exposure almost every day, because it is so, so important.
That natural light wala point is so relevant, because most of us just sit in like AC cabins and
Throughout the
work
day.
all day.
Yeah.
Probably the only light people are getting is natural light people are getting is while they're stepping into the cab and getting out of the cab and entering the office.
Yeah,
And after that, you're just in the office, right? When you come
Exactly.
out, it's already 6 p.m., 7 p.m. And
But actually, natural light just doesn't mean only sunlight. If you have time in the night, also please go out and get 10 minutes of moonlight. At
Yeah.
least you're exposing yourself to the outside nature.
yeah, because nature is very calming.
It heals you in so many ways. It brings down your stress levels. It rejuvenates your mood, and you start feeling very, very good when you just go out. It has happened
Yeah.
with me a lot.
Same.
When I feel very sad about some things or I'm stuck somewhere in my work, I just, we have the flexibility. We are entrepreneurs, so we are like, we are the owners of our time.
Yeah.
So I just go out, step during the day in my society, go for a walk, or just sit down outside if I'm not in a mood to work
Yeah.
and just be there. So that helps and it makes you more productive also quickly.
Yeah. While I don't have the opportunity to take these breaks every day, but what I do is on a Sunday, especially when I'm in Bangalore, because when I'm in Amritsar, I have a garden in my house,
Oh,
so I
wow.
spend a lot of time there every
Yeah,
morning.
yeah.
But in Bangalore, especially where I live in a flat and there's no garden or greenery around, I make sure that every Sunday morning I spend some time in a park.
Wow.
And
That's-
Bangalore
that's-
has beautiful parks.
And Bangalore has beautiful weather. I mean,
Yes.
people in Bangalore should not complain that if there's so much sunlight and I can't go out. Please go
You
out.
should.
You are
should.
missing out on such a good weather if you are not stepping out.
And that itself is so healing, like you said.
Exactly.
I try to go to Cubbon every month.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I live in HSR, so it's just very far from my
Far,
place.
I know.
But I try to go there as much as possible because it's again like it's a very nice experience just sitting there. And when you come back, you feel very rejuvenated.
Exactly.
You feel like, okay, I'm ready to conquer the world now.
Yeah. So, for example, if you're somebody who doesn't get time during your weekdays to step out, okay, and get yourself exposed to natural light, maybe on Saturday, Sunday, please find some time, go for a short hike around the city, or just go for a park, go on a park like you were saying. Na?
Yeah.
Bangalore has so many parks, or your city. In fact, every metropolitan cities are now the planning committee, they are bringing more and more
Yeah.
parks. So you have options. Like, please make time during the weekend to get yourself exposed to that greenery and
Yeah.
nature around you, because it just resets you for the next week.
Yeah.
I recently explored Lal Bagh and I
Yeah.
just fell in love with it. I mean, people say it's so dirty. I mean, theek hai, wo thoda it's there, but it has such a beautiful lake and there is a very good track around the lake to run.
Oh, I've not been there.
You
I
should go
I
to
should go.
Lal Bagh, actually.
I've heard so
It's
much.
very beautiful
I've
and
not
it's
been.
actually more bigger than Cubbon Park.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's...
I should go.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, one thing that I want to talk about is when women start their fitness journey in their 30s and 40s, should they lift weights?
Of course. I mean, there is no age. I would say age is not a bar for lifting weights. Okay. Maybe you should start a little slow. If you have not tried, if you have not lifted even a kg in your life. So start slow. Start first with making your movements better. For example, if you have not squatted in your entire life, I cannot believe if a person has not squatted, because everyone must have sat down on the floor in a
Yeah.
squat position and stood
Yeah.
up, right?
Yeah.
So if you have never done anything, please start with some kind of basic movements. Let your body adapt to it. Don't directly jump to a 40 kg weight.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So everyone can lift weights, Ambika. It's just that you should know the right technique to do that, because that is very important when it comes to any form of movement, I would say.
yeah.
So if you want, you can hire a coach, you can speak to somebody, or you can go along with your friends, start with something. But first, just work on your form and posture really well and slowly increase the weights.
Yeah, and I think there's no shame in picking up a lightweight, right? At the
No,
gym.
no
A lot of
shame.
people feel complex, like I'm going to pick like a 2.5 kg or in like a... So I started off with like very light weights.
Okay.
And then progressed. But I started liking it so much.
Yeah. Yesterday I just read a post, somebody posted on Instagram, that there is a freedom in lifting weights. And I'll tell you, it actually frees you in so many ways. Like, there's this constant amount of pressure going in our mind that we have to achieve this or that or that. But once you go and pick some weights and do some kind of exercises, you start feeling very, very free. There is a very different kind of focus that comes in when you are in that zone. And
Yeah.
that focus is like meditation itself. So please lift weights. It's for everyone. In fact, as you age, lifting. So they say that lifting weights will
Yeah.
help you age more gracefully. So if you will lift weights, yes, you will turn 50, but you might not look like 50. Yes, you will turn 60, but your 60s will become so much easier.
Yeah, I think it's not even about looking like you're 50, it's about feeling like
Feeling
you're
like
you're
you're
50.
50s,
So
exactly.
I was watching this reel on Instagram, and this lady was talking about, I squat so that I can do this. So that
Right.
so when she's saying do this is literally just picking up a child's toy.
Huh,
Right?
I know.
And these are such basic, like you said, functional movements
Movements.
that we use in our daily life.
Exactly. Right.
And-
So people ask me a lot of times that why do you lift weights? Previously I always used to say that I want to build some muscles and I don't want to get fat. Because everyone says that when they start,
Yeah.
and there is no shame in saying that. Everybody's
Yeah.
journey starts like that. But now when I have seen so many cases in my family where some incident has happened just because they did not have enough muscle mass in their body.
Oh.
They are dependent on people. They are not independent. Of course, you can't, like I said, you can't control the uncontrollables, right? But you can control something. And what you can is being independent in that age. If you will see people in their 60s, 70s struggling to even go to the washroom by themselves. So, I mean, why do you want to be dependent on somebody else when you have turned 70 or 60?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I age reflects differently after like 40, 13, everyone. Like you would see a 60-year-old who's very independent, would be going to the office,
Ha.
going to doing all of his things.
Going for treks.
all
There are
of
so
these
many
things.
examples. There are so many examples.
And then you would meet 60, 65-year-olds who are very slow and they've started aging, and you could,
Aging.
and I think all of these are a function of how well we've been living
basically
before
how
we reach-
well their previous previous years have been.
Correct,
Right?
absolutely.
My touchfoot, my mom and dad, they have no any issues as such. They have BP issues. For that they take
I think
medicines.
everybody in India
Huh,
does.
but they are very, very fit because my father has always been into something or the other. He's a runner. He runs a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. My mother does all the household work still today on her own. Even my mother-in-law does that.
Amazing.
And they are very, very fit. Although I keep telling them, you spend a lot of time standing, please include some kind of stretching or strength training in your life, which I'm making them do slowly also.
Yeah, because I think a lot of women also get cervical pain.
Yes.
Standing in the kitchen.
Their
doing
shoulder
this.
starts hurting, yeah.
Yeah.
Their ankles and feet start hurting.
Yeah, all the older women in my family, like my nani, they all have cervical problems. My mother's also like at a risk of getting it, but she's been doing stretching, she's
Okay.
been working out.
Okay,
Uh,
nice.
So in their 40s also, again, in their 40s when they start touching like that menopause wala age,
yeah.
that's when also your bone density starts
decreasing. Exactly.
So it's very important to work out then.
yeah, post 30, bone density starts decreasing if you are not doing anything to improve it.
And now
And you become more prone to any kind of falls or injuries. You
Yeah.
know, if you were in your 20s and you must have slipped, your recovery time will be very, very different than if you have slipped in your 40s and you don't have enough muscle mass to support your body. Because I've seen this firsthand. It has happened with my grandfather. So he was in a car, he was sitting on the rear seat, and he was very weak, he was very fragile, he was in his 70s, and the car suddenly jumped up, and because of that the back started, it just slipped.
oh
The
God.
disc
Yeah.
the slip disc happened, and that led to all the problems that he faced in his
Later.
last few years. And I used to feel so miserable. See, I am in this profession and I'm not able to help him. You feel that way.
You obviously that there's this helplessness that creeps in.
That you
Yeah.
can't do anything. So those who are listening to this podcast, I would urge you to please include some or the other kind of strength training in your lives, because it is so important. You will thank your body, you will thank yourself in your later years.
And strength training can also be just body weight training,
Yes,
right? It could be a
yes.
simple plank.
It could be plank, it could be body weight squats, it could be sit-ups, it could be push-ups, it could be pull-ups, anything that you're doing.
And a plank is not very difficult to do. You don't need any equipment for
Yeah,
it. You could just
yeah.
start with like a
Yeah,
30-second
yeah.
plank and then move to a 45.
Especially for a woman, they lose their core strength after,
Yeah.
like you mentioned, after
Postpartum.
And working on their core strength is important for a woman to even support that growth of the child.
So even during those 9 months, they should be working out?
Yeah, I mean, if your doctor has allowed you to do, for example, like I told you, if somebody is already in some kind of activity, they can continue with that. First, just consult with your doctor. Nowadays, so you will find a lot of prenatal, postnatal coaches who are helping you out.
So prenatal yoga and postnatal yoga I've heard of.
Even strength training there are coaches. In fact,
Okay.
I know them personally. They are my friends.
Amazing.
So they have been helping a lot of women go through that 9 months very gracefully. Even after giving birth to their child, 1 to 2 months back, they start training their clients, and it is just so beautiful to look at.
And I think we've had this, I don't know if that's true, honestly, because I've not seen a lot of pregnant women around me in growing up. But in TV shows and all of these things, there's this narrative, right? Like if someone's pregnant, she's supposed to rest.
I mean, that totally depends on your pregnancy, because like I told you, if somebody has not worked right now, so there are a lot of complications coming in pregnancy, first of all.
Yeah.
Okay. So if your pregnancy is already very complicated and
Then,
your
yeah.
doctor has asked, then it
Of
makes
course.
sense. But there is no such thing that you should just rest in your pregnancy. My mother does all the household work till the last day of her pregnancy. She used
Oh,
to
wow.
clean utensils. She used to, clean all the house. Of course, their age and time was,
It was
very
different.
different
It
from
was
our
different.
time.
I'm sure my mother would have also done.
Exactly.
Because tab help hoti nahi
Hoti
thi.
nahi thi, and you're expected to do all the
It was
work.
very unusual to have a full-time help in the
Right,
house
right,
and all of that.
right.
Now I think that support has come in.
Exactly.
least.
So engage in some or the other kind of physical activity, because it makes the growth of the child also very easy, and it makes your pregnancy also very easy.
And do you have clients who work out with you during their pregnancy?
Not right now. I don't have. See, I'm not a certified prenatal coach, so I don't take clients as such. But postnatal, if people come and they want to train, then I first check with their doctor, and if they say go ahead, then I know how
And
I
you know
can
what
treat them.
level of intensity should
Yes.
they be put on,
Yes.
etc.
Yes, that I
And-
can help them
yeah.
out. That's not a
And-
problem. Otherwise, if I think that I'm not experienced enough, I just give them my friend's number. I
Who
mean,
are
there is
certified
there is no
postnatal and
shame in that.
Yeah, of course, absolutely.
yeah.
And that is the whole point, right, of having certifications and so that you can go to the right person.
Exactly. And I would say, please, if you want to train also, research well about a certain coach.
Yeah.
They have done some certifications, they have helped some kind of people, and then go to them.
And we've discussed all aspects by now, but there's one very important aspect that we've not touched, and that's nutrition.
Okay. Yes.
We've
It's
I
like
think-
the most outraged topic.
and the thing is, our generation has been on diets, keto, I don't know, paleo and whatever. I don't even know
whatever
what
fancy
those.
names that
I don't
you
even
think.
know what those diets are called, because I've never been on a diet. Okay, I've been told I should go on a diet, but I've always had the right guidance from my doctors and my nutritionists who've guided me that you should eat a certain way, but you don't need to be on a diet.
True. First of all, remove this word diet from your dictionary.
Yeah. So have you heard of Rujita Divakar?
Yeah. I've
Okay.
read her books also.
Okay. So I was gifted this book by.
I've also read her one of the books.
So her book is. I think the first book that she released was Don't Lose Your Mind, Lose Your Weight. And the first line in that book is, what is a diet? Right? A diet is something that you eat every day. Your diet could be healthy, unhealthy, but there's nothing called being on a diet. You're
Exactly.
obviously always on a diet, right? You're eating every day, so that becomes your diet.
Yeah. Also, Ambika, I feel that eating healthy has been made so much, it has been made labeled in such a way that, this food is healthy, that food is healthy, that people find that food out of the world.
Yeah.
That people don't find the normal way of eating as normal.
Correct. Correct.
They start saying that it is boring. No, it's not boring. It's what your body needs.
Yeah.
Food is fuel. We all know that, right? So, first of all, please remove this word diet from your dictionary. And again, like I say, that there is no one size fits all when it comes to eating what or not. But the basic things that you can follow, stay away from processed foods as much as you can.
Yeah. Very high in
We
sodium.
are surrounded by innumerable number of items in the market, and there are so many packaged items out there. Also, I'm not saying that completely remove it. If you want to eat it someday, please eat it, but try to find that balance.
Yeah, I think finding that balance is very important. And by the way, packaged food, even when it's labeled as healthy packaged food, it's still bad. Like oats, right? The packaged oats that you get, read the content of
Label.
sodium.
Yeah,
Sodium in it is just so high.
Salt also. Sorry,
Yeah.
this sugar.
Sugar
Lot
or-
of process. Different kinds of sugar is there in all
Yeah,
of them.
with no added sugar, they'll still have some sort of
Some
sugar.
sort of.
So, yeah, it's just very. I think packaged food is one thing that I've completely eliminated from my diet.
That is
I
very
do
good.
like granola, so I indulge in
It's okay.
granola once in a while, and I'm like, okay, I can't remove everything, but I
It's
can still
okay.
have granola.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying now. You don't need to cut off almost everything. You find your days when you want to eat it.
Yeah.
But your days of eating homemade food, or say more vegetables, more fruits, should be more than the days of eating any junk or processed food.
Yeah.
If it's not like if you're eating 5 days very good and the Saturday, Sunday you are just binge eating, that is also doing more harm to your body. But try and find that balance somewhere. For example, I am a person who has not followed any kind of diet since I started fitness. Before I got into CrossFit, when I was in college, I went to my hometown in Gurgaon, and I actually have gotten fat, and I wanted to lose weight. So I went to this gym and they recommended me a diet, and I followed that because that time what did I know of?
Yeah, we've all been there.
And
at some point. Yeah.
I removed all the chocolates from my
Diet.
daily routine, and I used to love chocolates. For 3 months I did not eat any sort of chocolate, but after 3 months when I got back to college, I also stopped my exercise. I also got back to the normal way of eating, so I actually gained more weight rather than maintaining it.
Yeah, that's a very common phenomenon.
Huh,
that
and it
happens a
happens.
lot.
And
of
you know
people.
what it does? The process of losing and gaining weight again, it does more harm to your hormones.
Yeah.
Your hormonal health just goes for a toss. That is why all the kind of lifestyle diseases, they start happening.
Yeah, because they're constantly losing, and people are not losing like 2 kgs. They're losing like 5 kgs, 10 kgs,
10
and then
kgs
gaining it back, which is very, very harmful. And a lot of doctors have actually spoken about the harmful effects of this.
Yes, yes. In
but-
fact, nowadays, I am actually I feel very proud when I say that there are a lot of very good coaches also coming in who preach about all these things.
Yeah.
The holistic way of eating, or following a certain way of
Yeah.
lifestyle.
Yeah.
And most of them talk about finding that balance. Most of them talk about not following a certain amount of diet. Of course, if you have a certain condition, for example, if a person is diabetic, you will have to remove all kinds of sugar.
You will have to. And also, I
Exactly.
think in that also, they don't ask you to change your diet completely. You
Yeah.
change the way you eat certain foods.
Yes,
Right?
yes.
There's a very there's a very good research paper that I read on insulin sensitivity, and it mentions that you can manage your insulin spikes, and ideally that's what happens when you are diabetic, right? If you go for a walk just after your meal, your body metabolizes it better.
That is actually very true. That is actually
Yeah.
very true. And in fact, this week only, you mentioned that this week in our community, we were running this challenge that you have to go for 5-minute post-meal walks. So we try to help people build these kind of habits.
Yeah.
Habits which they can sustain. If you are walking after each of your meal for a certain amount of time, you have covered almost 20 to 30 minutes of walk in your day already.
Yeah.
And now you need to find the remaining time to get those steps in or
Yeah, that's a
something
very
like
good tactic to actually just get your steps
that.
done.
Steps done.
Because a lot of people, I think the 10,000 steps, well, I think is a very good goal for you to.
that WHO, I mean the whole purpose of giving that target from WHO was so that people can do something. At least they will start doing something.
Yeah, exactly.
But then people also start taking it very seriously that if I'm not able to do 10K, am I not doing anything? No. Any number of steps is good for you unless you're moving enough.
Correct. And I know also people obsessed over their steps with the tracker. And they had like 25,000 and 30,000. I'm like, crazy. I don't know how you're
I
doing
am
this.
very bad at completing my steps. And because I work out, I know it's not a reason to not complete my steps, but I try and keep it above 5K as much as possible.
I also struggle, but my mom is so good at it. Okay, so
nice.
she's talking on the phone. She'll just go out and keep
That
walking.
is the kind of habit I'm also trying to work on.
My mom's just so... I think my mom's very good at fitness and she's been very good with managing her diet and all of that. And I feel like, okay, I should also put in more effort. Because she's
They
what,
are an
51?
inspiration for us. Yeah,
She's 51.
Yeah.
She's been very consistent with her diet throughout. And she doesn't consume any sugar.
Okay.
My mother doesn't drink Coke or cold drinks.
Nice.
She doesn't eat ice creams also.
Yeah. Okay.
The only thing now that she indulges in, and both my brother and I know it, she loves Lotus Biscoff.
Oh, wow.
So once a month or sometime, like, she'll have a Lotus Biscoff cheesecake.
Oh, nice.
And that's her indulgence.
That is fine. I think that is fine. In fact, I have never had any kind of aerated drinks throughout my life.
Wow.
I don't know how. When I used to go to my relative's place, my mom always used to tell ki my daughter doesn't drink cold drinks. So please get her fruity. Although I know that is equally bad.
Now we know. Now we know.
Yeah, now we know. But at least that did not make a habit of drinking aerated drinks for me.
Yeah.
So in that way, I think I'm very blessed that I don't have this habit right from the childhood.
Yeah, I unfortunately did not take on my mom on this. I'm more like my dad, and both of us love Coke Zero. So, and now it's even worse because we just blinkate it. Okay, my dad's like, "Oh, Coke, khadam hai, chalo, let's blinkate it." And we can,
I know.
Yeah, but yeah, so I think these early on, nutrition and all of these habits that we didn't develop. Now, at least with more influencers talking about this, there's more awareness.
Exactly.
Because we didn't know कि Bonvita में इतनी sugar है.
Exactly.
Thanks to Food Farmer for
Food
that.
Farmer,
He's really educated people about good food versus what goes into packaged food.
Yeah. Basically, he's telling you about what you are putting in your system
Yeah,
and what kind of harm it is doing to your body.
absolutely.
So, I mean, we should be thankful to such people because now
Yeah.
it's the high time. And when India is becoming like the diabetes capital.
Yeah.
So, I think it's high time and we should really, really work on improving our eating habits, not following a certain diet or anything like
diets,
that.
like I said, honestly, I could not do diets also because of one reason. So, when you're in school, someone tells you, oh, you've gained weight and you suddenly feel like, oh, I'm going to go on a diet. I went on a diet. Went on a diet in the morning, okay? By the time I came home, I was like, Mama, I'm very hungry. Khane mein kya bana hai? So, I'm that kid.
Yeah.
So, I could not be on a
Yeah.
whatever diet they expected us to be on. I think the diet culture also ruined and gave us all a lot of body image issues.
Exactly.
So-
So people started relating to food in a way that if I stop eating certain thing, I will become thin.
Yeah.
That's the kind of mentality they started having. I know my cousins, So my cousins are 18, 20-year-olds. They go to college. And I don't know how on this earth they got this idea that they have to maintain their body in a certain way. Like when I was a kid, I just used to eat anything and everything.
So they also do. I'll tell you what, my cousin who's in college, okay, so she would not eat like fruits, but she will pick fries over fruits.
Exactly.
But if they're putting like 100 calories, those 100 calories can be unhealthy. They don't
Unhealthy,
care about
yeah.
whether it's healthy or
हाँ.
unhealthy. So it's that ek to calorie deficit, okay? Now this is one thing I definitely want to address. There's research that yes, calorie deficit will help you lose weight. But for women, that's not applicable all the time, right? A lot of men follow this calorie deficit wala trend. Ki, I'm not, and it's not a trend. It's proven that if you're
No,
in a calorie
see,
deficit, you will lose weight.
No, if you have to lose weight, there is just one logic behind it. You will have to burn more than what you are eating.
But that's not always applicable for women.
Yeah, in case of hormonal imbalances
Yeah.
and such cases, that's not
Yeah.
true. But you can at least start with moving more and burning more.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So the goal should be to burn calories, not be sedentary.
Not be
have
sedentary.
some activity, but not that, oh, you go on a 2000 calorie restrictive diet.
Yeah.
Because
If you're going on a calorie deficit, please consult it with a proper nutritionist.
yeah, who can tell you based on your hormones whether you even need to be in calorie deficit or not?
Exactly.
Because there's so much information on social media, whether be in calorie deficit, all of that, that's not always applicable for women's
Right.
bodies, because
Right.
we have, every woman also has fluctuating hormone levels, right? You can't be on a restrictive diet when you have PCOS, when you are going through menopause. Or in cases I've also read, like, how intermittent fasting really picked up. Intermittent fasting is not great, apparently, in some cases.
First of all, intermittent fasting is nothing but you are allowing your body to eat in a restrictive
Correct.
eating window, right? What did our ancestors used to say? When you should always eat at a certain
Time,
fixed
yeah.
timings, right?
Yeah.
So that is what I mean intermittent fasting is.
I
And if you're
agree.
giving 12 hours of window between your last meal and next morning meal, then that is also intermittent fasting.
And that's a sufficient gap for you
Exactly.
to digest food. And also, it stops us from binge eating. I think
And it improves a lot of functions in your body.
Yeah.
Your sleep becomes better, your metabolism becomes better, and you stop having cravings also slowly.
correct. All of these things are beneficial if you do a 12 to 14 hour window.
I think that is more
More
than
than some-
enough
yeah.
until unless you are experimenting under somebody's guidance and you're allowing your body to adapt to that.
Fair.
For example, if you're start with a 12 hour. If you want to go slowly to 10 hour, then first let your body adapt to that 12 hour window. Don't directly jump into a 8 and 16 window. I will be eating only for 8 hours and 16 hours I will not be.
Which is, because it may not be always beneficial. It may backfire also.
Exactly.
So,
So it's all about letting your body adapt to that certain thing. If you're doing something which your body is not used to, it's going to resist.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this has been a very engaging and fun conversation, and we've covered a lot of aspects of well-being. We're not just talking about a specific diet or a specific form of movement, right? The topics that we covered are mostly applicable to all.
Right.
So thank you so much for this. I absolutely loved this conversation with you.
Thank you so much for inviting me, Ambika. I also had a pleasure, and I think I did well.
You did, absolutely. You were so good.
Yeah.
I know this is Nikita's first podcast, and I think she did amazingly well. So
Thank you.
thank you. On this note, I will take your leave, and I will see you next week with a new topic and a new guest. Thank you so much for watching this episode. I hope you enjoyed watching this. For more information on women's wellness, please do subscribe to the Wellness Mixer. I would like to take this opportunity to thank our sponsors and collaborators. We shot this episode at the lovely WeWork office in Bangalore, and we got the cameras from SharePal, who made it extremely easy for us to get the cameras and set up everything. And if you'd like to capture lovely memories with your family, go to sharepal.in and you can rent cameras there.